So when you live on a bus, is that pretty nice? Because when I see people living on a bus, it's like, a school bus. Like back in the day, like my aunt and uncle lived in a school bus.
Yeah, no, it's a little different. We, over the years, those buses now, they've become more like, almost like a house. It's kind of one of those deals where you got satellite TV and video games and, pretty much whatever you have at your house, you have on a bus. It's just in a little bit smaller area. Like, my bus, I got 2 daughters, so they have their own little beds on there that they deck out.
You bring your kids all over with you?
Typically in the summer, when they're out of school, they'll come out a little more. Right now they're in school, so it's a little tougher to get them out. But in the summers, they're out a little more than they are right now.
Jason Aldean in the studio here on the Bobby Bone Show. So you have so many number one songs. Does it make you feel more pressure to have another big slam number one every time?
Not really. I think for me, kind of what's put me in the situation I'm in is just kind of trusting my gut instinct on things and, recording the kind of songs that I like and, that's always seemed to work for us, and so it's something that I try not to stress out about too much. I figure you just, put what you feel like are your best songs out and they're going to do, what they're going to do. And, the funniest thing is some of my biggest hits have been, some of my biggest hits that kind of translate live are songs that were never, number ones. They were Hicktown, for example, was a song I think that peaked at 9 or 10. And we've had songs like Amarillo Sky that weren't number ones. And so, a lot of times songs that don't end up being number ones are still huge hits for you live. And so I think you just got to put out the songs you feel like best represent what you do, and everything else kind of takes care of itself.
You have an orange cell phone.
Well, it's actually camouflage.
Oh, it's camouflage.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's orange. I got it. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And you have tape.
You carry it around so you don't get shot. You hold it out in front of you as you're walking through the woods.
And you have tape on your headphones. Are they not paying you guys enough here?
You're
What's
right.
going on?
These have been my same
real.
headphones since college. I keep it real.
Well, it's real.
It's very real. Okay, listen. Your phone.
It looks real cheap. Man, you need to go buy you some headphones. You want me to bring you some headphones?
Aww.
See, these are my favorite kind, though, and I can't find any more like these, so I just taped them up. You know what it's like when you grow up in the hood,
Yeah.
you grow up in the trailer park.
Actually, I do know what that's like.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You appreciate things more. When you get something good, you hold it together as long as you can.
Hey, I respect that, man.
Who in your phone do you have that's famous that's not a country music star?
Who in my phone do I have that's Let me look. That's not
Like you've become friends with outside of music, but they're famous and are like, I'm such a big fan, here's my number.
Let's see. I'm scanning through. I got Kid Rock.
That's a cool one. Kid Rock, 1 point.
Kelly Clarkson, Keith Urban. He's country. He's country though. So, all the guys from Duck Dynasty from the show Duck Dynasty.
Oh no!
Ray's gonna
Hey
be
Ray,
so jealous.
do you want to tell him something?
No, he
He
can't
can't say anything.
No, you can't.
Oh, here you go. Joe Perry from Aerosmith.
That's cool.
So yeah, I got a few in there.
Ray, I'm going to give you permission to tell Jason Aldean what you need to tell him.
Oh.
Jason, your boy here, I have to get Cy on the show so that I can win a bet, but I don't think he has the radio or a cell phone, so it's going to be really tough for me to get Cy from Duck Dynasty.
It's gonna be tough to get Cy to Nashville.
No, he just has to call in
just
one
call
day.
in.
You just need him to call. I'll work on it. I'll see what I can do for you guys.
Thanks,
all right?
pimp.
Yeah.
Can I ask him for my person?
No.
Nope.
Who's your person?
Janelle Evans from Teen Mom 2.
Oh yeah, do you know Janelle from Teen Mom, Jason?
She's in rehab right now, so.
That's your kind of girl?
No, I just have to have her call in. That's my celebrity.
Oh, that's your bet.
Yeah.
Well, is she actually a celebrity? How does that
That's
work?
what-
Yeah, she's on MTV every
That's-
Monday night.
That's
He's
kind of
obsessed.
that's borderline,
Yeah.
So, Jason, your dad used to play guitar with you when you were little.
Yeah.
And your mom helped you start performing. Is that kind of where you got the bug?
Well, you know what? My dad was always a huge music fan and just always had music going on in our house when I was a kid and played guitar a little bit, not very well, but it's just a little bit, enough to kind of play and sing some songs, and which was enough to kind of get me interested. And him and my uncle both play guitar and would sit around and sing songs together. And that was kind of how I ended up wanting to learn how to play guitar, was so I could sit around and play with my dad and my uncle. And then, it just kind of went from there. So he showed me, basic guitar stuff that he knew. And, I just kind of took that and ran with it.
Your song 1994 is funny because, one, it's catchy, it's crap, but, I grew up, so I was born in the 80s, and I grew up in the 90s on Travis Tritt, Garth Brooks, Joe Diffie is like one of my favorite guys.
Yeah,
and
man.
we'd always said when we come to do this, we want to get Joe Diffie to come in and perform because back in the day, like mullet and all, Joe Diffie was like and this song is Joe.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, Joe, I still think Joe's one of the best singers that's hit this town in a long, long time. And in the mid 90s especially, I mean, I remember going to some of his shows and they're, I tell people this story a lot. And in my hometown, there used to be 2 radio stations, and we had the street party where both radio stations would throw, have a concert on different streets. And I remember Joe Diffie playing on one stage, and there was about 5,000 people watching him. Kenny Chesney, a relatively unknown Kenny Chesney, was on the other street and had about 500 people watching him. So, that just kind of goes to show you like how big of a star he was at the time. And I came up, playing the bars at that time and playing a lot of his stuff, Third Rock from the Sun and John Deere Green, all that stuff back in the day. So, mullet, mustache, and all, man.
From Oklahoma. I'm from Arkansas. I love Joe Diffie back in the day. Do you ever talk to that guy? Did you say, hey, Joe, I'm putting you in a song?
I have not actually talked to him. My booking agent is pretty good friends with him. So, we've kind of passed along a couple, messages via my booking agent. But, I'm hoping that we'll have a chance to work with him at some point on this song and have him do something that, be really cool to, whether it's a, video or having him come out perform with us or whatever it is. I think it'd be really cool.
So when you sell out Madison Square Garden, is that the highlight of your career?
It's one of them for sure, man. We were in New York City this past weekend and had a show there in Madison Square Garden that sold out, and it was the first time I'd ever stepped foot in that arena. I'd never played it as an opening act or anything, so my first time there was actually my own show, and it was pretty intense, man. It was that's one of those places as a singer. I mean, that's one of those venues that's pretty high up there on the list of places to play, and the fact that we got to do it and sell it out our first time was pretty incredible.
Coolest person you've ever played with?
Coolest person I ever played with. I got a chance to play with Greg Allman the other night, which has to rank up there with being one of the coolest people I've ever had a chance to play with.
So he's older now. Does he still play well?
Oh, he plays great and he sings great.
Really?
Yeah, man. It was pretty awesome. So,
all right, Jason Aldean in the studio.